Hi, I'm Aaron, the owner of Brisbane Yamaha. And one of the most common questions I get asked is, what kind of boat should I buy? What's the best boat to buy? And I've always got a standard answer. Depends on what you're going to do with it. And what you're going to do with it is the 80% of time that you actually use it, not the 20% that you might be going up north to the Cape, right? So we need to buy a boat that's going to fit the majority of your needs. And in this video, what I'm going to do is run through a whole heap of different styles of boats and what they're good for. And so what we'll do is, we'll start off with a tinny, because believe it or not, they're the most popular, and that's what a lot of people got in their backyard and they use more. I've got 3 boats myself, a big offshore boat, a tinny for creek, a 4.2 and a little tinny. I use them all, but I seem to use a little tinny more. So first up, let's say you just want a tinny. We're going in the creeks, we're going to do a car topper, we've got a caravan. What else? We just want to make it simple. I've got a 6x4 box trailer, a little motor. I want to do it as cheap as possible and get out. Maybe we're going to catch some red claw. There's a good one. So, as you can see just here, there's a plethora of different sizes. Now, starting at the bottom, we've got a little 3-metre Wanderer, and you can get a 2.5-metre Explorer and things. And what I'll do is I'll put up the sheet of all of the tinnies that Quintrex make, and Dan will freeze on that later so you can see all the specs. But have a look here, and I'll show you the difference in hulls. See this hull here? It's a little bit like a block of cheese, just with the top cut off it, just so the waves go and the wash comes under and it rides. Now this is flat, and that's for stability. As you get and come, so that's a 3-metre Wanderer, a 3.6, and you can see there's a slight curvature in it. So that's just going to ride a little bit better, push the water out a bit better, and it's a bigger boat, so it's more stable. All right, and there's a 320 Wanderer. So we've got a 300, a 320 and a 360. And you can slowly see that curve coming and the shape of the hull, right? The most stable boat in the world's like a punt, and the best riding's like an offshore racing boat, but they're very unstable. So a hull is what you're going to do with it. And as we come through, look, 350 Explorer, more of a bow, more of a curved bow, more capable as you get into deeper water. 350 Dart is more your traditional tinny, and you can see it's sharper again, the V's more, and then you come through into something that's a very popular boat with caravanners, and that's a 320 Explorer. The 350 Explorer is probably the most popular car topper in Australia. Now, come down here, Dan, because this here, have a look at this. This is called a 350 Explorer Outback, and it has high sides. So what would you use that for? Now, that can be a car topper, but gee, you need some muscles and you probably need a car lifter to do it. It's a short shaft, so it takes 2 people. You put a 15 on it. Ideal for crabbing, going out in the estuaries, any river, putting on top of your car, off you go, you know? So that's for a couple of people. Maybe you're retired, maybe you're going up north, you want some high sides to stop the lizards getting you, and you've already got a motor. I would probably get one, a 4-seater with a long shaft. Now this boat is ideal for someone that wants it easy. You can get it on a trailer, you'd be well under 10 grand. Take the kids out, crabbing, prawning, catching red claw up in Somerset or one of the impoundments. So this tinny, famous, the Dart, not the Dart, the 370 Dart, right? 4 people, 20 horsepower. You want to go offshore fit, you want to go out in the estuary, out into the rivers, out into the bay fishing on a good day. Absolutely. You and 3 of your kids, your wife and 2 kids, out you go, catch some whiting, brim. Probably going to cost you, 20 horsepower on one of these. Yeah, still under that 10 grand. Cheap boating to get out there and get some sun, and easy boating. But you're definitely not going to Tangalooma or anything. While we're there, just have a look at those tough tenders. We sell about 60 of these, indestructible. Ideal for someone with a tender. So now I've got a big boat and I want to go to shore and come back, or I want to leave it somewhere. Now, come back up here, Dan, because show those, we've got everything, and I'm going to get on to some other boats. Have a look in the back of this. Now, this is for someone that's a crabber or a prawner, wants a bit more than the small tinny, right? Want to put more people. This takes a 25 horsepower. It still takes 4 people, but you can see it's got floors. You can stand up in it easier. You're going to catch dart, whiting, you know, you'd catch mackerel, you could trawl around in it, any impoundment, any of that, any prawning, you know, getting red claw, I'm getting tight for words, red claw, catching an impoundment, catching yellows, any of that stuff, absolutely awesome. You can put electric motor on it. You're probably around 12 grand by the time you get power trim and tilt. Then come down here, Dan. Now we come to a buster. Now, a 420 buster. 420 buster can take a 40 horsepower. It's got floors, casting decks. What this is for, you're going in the poundments, you're going in estuaries, a little bit offshore, you go to Scarborough Reef or one of the inshore reefs, sounders, you've probably got a good electric motor like, you know, 44 stroke here, but you're getting up. You're getting up into 12, 15 grand by the time you put everything on it. But don't worry about price. I shouldn't be talking about price. What you can do with this boat, ideal, if you've got 2 blokes, you and a mate, or you and your kids, very, very versatile. And a 420 is one of the most popular sizes to get because you could tow it up north, you could go up to Fraser, you go out in the bay in any impoundment, you know, prawning, crabbing, red claw fishing, doing all those stuff, put a bimini on it. Ideal all-round boat. When I was a kid, everyone had a runabout. Why do you have a runabout? You sit up the front, you drive, it's easy to get the anchor. You see your feet are in here, you've got a rear lounge, 5 people. This one's a 430 fishabout, can take a 60. And what's this good for? Well, you go in all those rivers and estuaries and you water ski with it, you know, when water toys. You've got shade, you take your lunch in your esky, you do all of those waterways all through the Gold Coast, up in the Sunshine Coast. Noosa River is packed with these. You've got a couple of rods out, you're catching whiting and brim, you know, even, you know, you go out through Caloundra Bar. Well, I hate Caloundra Bar, it's a nightmare, but Noosa or Bribie or down the Gold Coast waterway out through the Pin, catch some fish, you can trawl, very versatile, easy to get into your garage, and there's lots of them. So go and have a look at, Dan, just quickly show those, and show right out to the 481, because we just get bigger and bigger up to 510 in these, up to 530 they're called. So the main thing, fishabouts, I reckon families, I reckon older people that want to sit, I reckon if you're not flicking lures and doing things, a fishabout, a runabout is absolutely ideal for you and really practical boat. All your water sports, all of your fishing, family fun, exploring, wonderful boat, and that's why that category is very, very popular and you'll see lots of them on the water. But what if you do want to go and flick some plastics and catch some stuff? We want to go and get jacks, we want to fish in estuaries, we want to be a tournament fisherman. Where would you start? Well, where you'd start is a boat like this, 420 Explorer Trophy. See that hull down there? What you've got is stability, so you can stand up. Show up here, Dan, show up here, come on. We haven't got all day, we'll lose. Look at that. What you've got is big casting decks. You can put a live well in the front. You've got a console that's easy. You stand some rods up, rear casting deck. You know, it's got maximum horsepower of a 50. And what this is for is to get out on that water and you really work in the water. Yeah, you could stand up the front and prawn and crab and do all those things. A beautiful boat for that. Seats, very uncomplicated, wide side decks. You know, you get a sounder on that. And that's for someone that doesn't want to go offshore too much. So what they're doing is they're freshwater or estuaries, 80%, and then a little bit offshore when the weather's good. Now, as you get bigger on these so now you come down onto a 420 Hornet. Now, this is for someone that might have had a 420 or you've got a few more people, and what you want to do, see, this will take 4 people, it goes to a 75, a lot more storage, Minn Kota you can put on both for spot lock and trawling around. Have a look at the hull, Dan. Have a look at the hull. So what that hull does, it has stability and it will handle some rough. So this is where you're doing a little bit more fishing, your big impoundments when it blows up, you're flying around a little bit more confidence and and off you go. Wonderful, wonderful boat, very popular boat. You'll see these everywhere, a Hornet, and that's for someone you can stand up. Sure, you can do everything you want in a fish about. You know, my kids sit in the back here and look back. Just probably not as comfortable if you just want to sit there, have a couple of beers and watch your rods. This is for someone a little bit more active. Sure, you can just sit here and have the rods out and you can do all those things too. Awesome sort of boat. Okay, so now what you want to do, this is a 420, and what this is for is someone that's doing more in the bay, a little bit offshore, less into estuaries and impoundments, and more into a bit of rougher water. Now, we looked at a 420 Buster. This is also a 420, right? The 420 Buster could have a 40 on it. We sold millions of them with 32 strokes, but then you come to a Renegade and it has a 50 and it's a side console. This is for when you want to do casting, you can sit there, you can bottom dong, you can do anything with it. And then Dan, and that style of side console has become very, very popular because there's a lot of room to walk around with. A lot of working areas, stand up the front and rear casting decks as plastic's got more popular, and now a lot of people do it. You can stand up, you can do anything. Broke the microwave before. I think I got coffee on it, but anyway. And they're down on those side consoles. We make side consoles all the way up to 6 metres, 7/6s really, right? And I was talking about side consoles. Quintrex has got a new one. Top ender, 530 with the smooth sides. Well, 520, awesome looking boat. Ideal, you could do a lot of offshore fishing in that. I'd go anywhere. You go across to Tangalooma, I'd go out. I'd go 50k offshore in this thing, not a problem. Catch billfish, you could do anything. Or you could move to the new Apex. Have a look just over the back of that. You know, a very broad boat. You can see there, side console. This is a brand new boat, big casting decks, wide. You know, you can get 3 or 4 blokes in there, all casting, all doing well. Now what you want to do, you're not really a fisherman, but you are. You like fishing, but you like water sports. I like towing the kids, you know, but then on a weekend I'll take my mates fishing, and we might go water skiing, we might do crabbing, we might do everything. The wife comes, we have a barbecue, we land on a beach, you know, we go across to Tangalooma, we go out into the islands in the bay. Awesome. And then you have a bow rider. Now, skiing. So all those family fun. And what a bow rider is like a ute. So what it has is seating positions at the front. And what you do is you can sit up here, drink Chardonnay, eat chicken. You know, the kids are up here, hubby's there driving. Absolute wonderful boat. And even for the fishermen, it gives another place at the front. So they're like the runabout, but you've got this bit at the front. It's like a ute in reverse. They always take a lot more people. You know, this is a 6 people. And lots of fun. Put some horsepower on it, pull some skiers, one on Saturday, and then go fishing with your mate on Sundays. Little casting deck at the front, you put an infill and sit up here and flick lures. Very capable boat. And all the bow riders out there, you know, they make a lot of American bow riders, and in America 95% of the use is fresh water. And that's why you see a lot of fiberglass, they're low-sided. Great boat in a dam. Absolute shies and hows in Australian conditions out in the bay or out in the ocean. You're lucky to come home alive. Now, what we have is, you can see, look at that one across there. That's called a Freestyler. It's got that famous pickle fork at the front that's, and what that does is give you more room. Show how much more room that is. So that's a 510 we just looked at. This is a 530 Freestyler. And you can see at the front, very stylish, sit up there, ideal, all your family fun. They've got the same hull as the Frontier that you can see there. So offshore, absolute off to Tangalooma, do anything. Very, very versatile boat. Stylish inside with all those style pockets. Your neighbours are going to want to come fishing with you. They're going to want to come water skiing with you. Fun. All of those country people with impoundments. A bow rider really is the way to go. Now, when you get to bow riders, you might think ski boats. And now, none of my kids ski, they wakeboard, right? And you might want to get a big Malibu, one of these great big fiberglass ski boats. Awesome boat, I love it. And if you're going to spend 80, 90% of your, well, if you're going to spend 100% of your time on an impoundment skiing, go get one. Awesome, I'll come with you. But if you want a boat with a little bit more versatility to suit Australia, you'll buy an aluminium bow rider, and there's no better bow riders than a Quintrex because they've got an offshore hull so you can go off. So you've got more stability, more versatility with what you're going to do. You know, you're going to do more family fun than fishing, but when you go fishing, very, very capable boat. So, okay, I'm going out in the bay, I'm going to Tangalooma. What we're going to do is way more estuary, bay and ocean fishing. I'm probably not going halfway to Tasmania. I'm taking the kids and mates. Well, here's a little 510 cuddy cab. So they're called a cuddy cab because they've only got a half cabin. You don't really sleep in them. Kids will. Anyone seasick, they'll curl up in there in a flash. I've seen that. Go green. And this is an ideal boat for the family. Dad taking out his 3 kids, bottom bashing, trawling lures. It'll do all that. You know, everything that you want out of a big boat without spending enormous amounts of money. What this does is a lot of cover, and what the difference between this and a runabout. When the oceans get big, you stand up. In a runabout, it's hard to stand up. Side console, center console, you can stand up rather than sit down. Now, most of the time you will sit down, but when it gets rough, you steer in and you use your legs like a shock absorber. So this boat here is much more capable. I'm more likely to go out to the Barwon Banks or go out wide, go at the continental shelf, and I would. You're down on the Gold Coast, you'll be out chasing billies, chasing snapper in deep water in one of these, and you'll see lots of them out there. Then spin around, Dan. In the same sort of vein as a half cab or a cuddy cab you've got there with the short cab, then you come into a full half cab. This is a Bay Sport 595, a 6-metre boat. And what this boat can do, it's set up for a weekenders, but it's a hardcore fishing boat. And this is to go out, you do any impoundments, you do ski and you do all your family fun, but you know, it's not as easy to push around the backyard. And what you're doing with this is you're going to do more offshore, more comfort. As boats get bigger, they ride better in bigger seas. Now, that doesn't mean that you need the biggest boat in the world. Like I said, you know, if you're doing 80% of your work fishing in creeks and estuaries, you don't really need a big boat like this going up a creek, rubbing up against mangroves and oyster leases. Not at all, but you still could. This ideal Tangalooma, out into the ocean, into an impoundment, sleeping on the way up to Ellie Beach, awesome. And so now what you're doing, you've got addicted to offshore fishing. So now you're going further and further because the further you want to go, the bigger the fish you catch, and that's how it rolls when you do that, when you get addicted. Whether you're catching billfish, whether you're bottom donging in 100, 150 metres of water, whether you're out there with electric reels, you'll end up getting bigger. Now this is a 650 Yellowfin. You can see the cab, it locks down, it looks like a military vessel because it's built tough. It's built tough because when you're out there in big seas, it blows up, you need something strong and you need something big. Take a few mates, more fuel, bigger motors. So you can see here at the helm, it's made for standing. You can sit back, it's comfortable, but you can stand, you can hold onto a rail, you can clip this down in big seas. You've got bigger seats that are comfortable for rocking and rolling side on. Doesn't matter what size your boat you get until you get like 40 footers, it's gonna rock and roll. Live back, shine down here, shine into this deck, plenty of deck space. You need to get your feet under so you can get your legs on those gunnels, and that's how you support yourself in big seas. Big fuel tanks, nice seats, lots of rocket holders to hold all your rods. You never take too many rods, never at all. And then this sort of boat, like I said, 80%, 90%, yeah, you could go skiing it, but you're gonna look pretty silly turning up to an impoundment in one of these. Oh, I've done it. I got a dam at home, I put a 35 footer in it once. Kids loved it. I had to get a bulldozer in to get the thing out though. I got it in, couldn't get it out. True story. What we're going to do is we'll look for a really hardcore offshore boat right now. But this is our delivery boat, and you would have seen this boat. Little 390 Explorer. People bought it because they live at Bribey up the passage. Cross here, look at this. You've got a Angler Pro side console. They brought that, and that's got sounders, side console, like I said, a bit offshore. Well, you do a lot of offshore in that. And then you can come back and there's a Renegade with a Minn Kota. They're going to fish, they're going to go and catch Saratoga and Brim and go in Flathead and do all sorts of stuff in all those estuaries and offshore. And then there's another 650 Yellowfin for getting offshore and catching all those big fish, trawling around in comfort. And then when you're really addicted to offshore fishing and you like staying out overnight and you're just slaughtering fish and letting them go, or you're catching billfish, you go to something like this custom plate boat, and AMM's probably one of the best. My mate Bart, I've known him, I don't know, 40 years. And what you do with something like this is anything you want to do, exploratory trips, you know, but make no mistake, it's not something that you just go for a 2-hour fish, is it? By the time you'd launch that, you tow it, you've got a car to tow it, you know, windscreens inside, and we'll have a quick look inside. You can see the comfort, kitchens and fridges, and, you know, you have freezers for your bait, and you can go overnight. Awesome idea. You know, and you get into hundreds of thousands, and then you go into a great big displacement boat by a river, a Maritimo or something, park it at your backyard. Awesome. So what this is where our trim shop, we spoke about that, you put carpets and lay-in floors, and we put all your cushions and seats and stuff in. And but have a look at that. Look at the dash, a couple of big Garmin sounders there. You got a cab that you could get in and get romantic, get out of the weather. Big hard top with glass everywhere. Wouldn't matter how rough it got. Big seats, you know. And this is really, and the great big sun deck. Have a look at that deck over the top. North Queensland style. You hang out there. You could put half a dozen mates in here, all pulling in the reds and catching fish. So what's the right boat for you? Well, it depends on what you want to do. Crabbing in a local creek, or bottom bashing with electric reels, you know, 100k offshore. There's a boat for every family, but I'll tell you, it's important you buy the right boat, because if you don't buy the right boat for what you want to do it for, you won't use it. And if you want to know what to do and want to have a look, come and see us at Brisbane Yamaha. We've got the full range. Call the team, 3888 1727, or go online, brisbaneyamaha.com.au.